Firstly, shout out to Art of Football for this absolutely wonderful bit of kit I'm wearing. Need a little bit of rugby stash going on, but Art of Football is doing well, so thank you very much for this. My oh my, did we have some rugby this weekend. Newcastle got their first win. Perpignan beat Toulouse. What on earth happened there? Ulster are flying high. The Dragons are on a winning streak. 2026 is off and running with some amazing results across the board. My name is Shanair and welcome to All Things Rugby Review of the first weekend in 2026. Let's start in the Premiership because all around the grounds there were some incredible matches. Starting off with Newcastle Red Bulls getting their first win. Gone the lads against Gloucester, who, look, Gloucester have not been fantastic all year, but to be fair to them, they are doing the best with what they have. Like, player for player, they're not fantastic. And we said this about, like, even Exeter a couple of weeks ago. But, you know, it's a good coaching setup there. Skivington's been there for a long time. I don't think they need to change too much. But they're just struggling. They've lost some real big players in that club. They're going to lose Thomas Williams next year as well. And Newcastle got some momentum, signing Hoskins to Tutu, and Christie's playing there now. And look, they're doing okay. They're playing some decent rugby, and yeah, they got their win. And look, as a Harlequins fan, we're not going very well, and I wouldn't really want to play Newcastle at this moment. So fair play to the Red Bulls getting their first win of the season. Talking about Quins, we sent a rotated side over to Northampton, which isn't the best thing to do, but I think we're just at a point where we have to play the youngsters now, give them as much game time as possible. Coach has already come out and writ off this season, even though we're going into Europe again next week. But look, Northampton score from everywhere. I mean, if Hendy isn't in this England squad, then God knows what Borths is watching. And as for Alex Mitchell, how are you finding space in a phone box? Like, man, he's really cementing himself as one of the best scrum halves in the world at the moment. And then outside of that, Alex Coles. I mean, we're going to talk about Chesham in that Leicester team, but he is doing everything at the moment to put his hand up to partner Atoji in the second row for England. So, man, fair play. Northampton look great. The squad is so big. You think they'll be able to compete on both fronts. They've got Bordeaux coming up, so we'll see how they play there. But yeah, look, fair play to Northampton. Top of the table now, overtaking Bath. So well done the Saints. Game of the weekend for me was at Welford Road, where Leicester managed to get a first half bonus point against Saracens, which I, for one, did not see coming. But man, Leicester fronted up. Like, both teams had an incredible starting 15. I put it on X. I was like, the starting 15s look like it's going to be a great battle. And when you look at the bench, Sarri's had the likes of Atoji on the bench coming on. You're like, man, they are stacked. If they can get to the second half, it's going to be a great one. Leicester blew them away. Up front, Joe Hayes is slowly just rising his stock in that England prop side. So, look, fair play to Leicester. Chesham is back banging guys for fun. So, man, Billy Searle came on because Orlando Bailey got an injury a couple of weeks ago and he just started. And he has made that 10 shirt his. So, but fair play to him as well. They were without Parise and Kata, who are such big ballers for them in midfield. Leicester looked fantastic. Freddie Stewards. Man, we're talking about Hendy and the other wingers for England. We're talking like the likes of Radwan and Arundel. Freddie Stewart is playing the best rugby I've seen probably ever. So, look, Borths has got so many options coming into this England Six Nations squad. So we'll be covering that in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. But Freddie Stewart could be there. Over to the URC, and we had a very, very mixed bag of results here. Not just results, but matches in general. We started off with New Year's Day with the Welsh derbies. My gosh, that was a terrible match between the Dragons and the Scarlets. But the Dragons managed to continue their winning form. Scarlets, chatting to Hugh, one of our editors for All Things Rugby, I have no idea what Scarlets need to do, man. They just looked terrible. Like, to make the Dragons look good, you've got to be playing some really bad rugby, and Scarlets just looked awful. So, yeah, look, as far as Welsh rugby concerns, Cardiff's going okay still, like near the top of the table. I think they're up to third now, but man, some of the standard has just been shocking. So, with loads of transfers coming out of the Welsh teams and moving over to the likes of Gloucester. Yeah, look, come Six Nations time again, it's going to be interesting to see where Wales land again, we're always going to be looking at Wales, Italy as the game, but realistically, like, I just don't see them going to get anywhere near the Italians this year. Elsewhere, we had the South African derbies, and we had packed out stadiums in Cape Town as the North versus South derby, and the Stormers win again. Now, we said this about Leinster, and we'll get to them. They won again, but Stormers are also now winning when they're not even playing well in some of their biggest games. That is dangerous. Now, we were saying in the office, look, when Sasha has a good game, Stormers look like one of the best teams in the world. When he's quiet, no one else is really stepping up. And they've got some fantastic players, but still missing the likes of Cameron Hammercombe, who is such a big ball carrier for them. Man, they played against the Bulls, who on paper, you'd sit in there going, come on, Polly can lead this team around. But the Bulls look so far off it. So hopefully, with the incoming Springbok assistant coaches, they can pull it together. But realistically, outside of the Stormers, the South African teams haven't been fantastic. Sharks lost to the Lions in the last minute, which was, look, by their standards, shocking, right? Like, they've been near the bottom of the URC table for a good few seasons now. And although they got that Challenge Cup win, they have 13 Springboks in that squad. What is going on? How are you losing to the Lions? So, don't get me wrong, fair play to the Lions, but man, Sharks, you've really got to be asking these questions. Like, you have got so many international superstars, but they put on the Sharks jersey and they are half the men that they are in a Springbok one. So, yeah, lots of questions in South Africa as well. And slowly but surely, Leinster are creeping up this table. And I know I've given them lots of stick, but man, they're going to be ones to watch. They're just slowly going about their business well. Connacht didn't really fire a shot. Leinster absolutely put them to the sword. But elsewhere, Ulster, my, oh my. Look, Munster rotated. Fair enough. We've got a couple of EPCR games coming up. But Ulster are flying. And again, sorry to keep going to Six Nations chat, but Andy Farrell is going to have some real big decisions to make because, again, how we've always lent on Leinster for this Irish team, there are so many Ulster players putting their hands up. And I know there was an issue back in the day with like John Cooney not getting picked and, you know, his beef with Sexton or Farrell. Nathan Doak is flying at the moment. And, you know, how can you not put a player like that in the squad now? So, yeah, Zach Ward, again, his brother. There's so many of them now in that Ulster team. Not just the likes of Henderson, who's just a big body. So, yeah, come Six Nations time, it'll be interesting to see who Andy Farrell picks. I've said it for the last 2 years now. If you haven't been watching the top 14, you are sleeping on some of the best drama-filled rugby in the world. Like, the way that the teams basically only care about their home games and they just rotate everyone else for the away games. We saw bottom of the table Perpignan topple Toulouse. What are we even saying? Like, even when Toulouse rotate their side, there's still so many ballers on that pitch that you're just like, how on earth have Perpignan just done that? But look, they move up from the bottom of the table and drop Montauban to that relegation position. So, yeah. And elsewhere, oh my God, defence was optional. There was tries galore. A couple of weeks ago, we saw Bayern gone over the Quins, and Quins get probably their best performance, and they put 50 odd on them. This week, Montpellier put 60 on them, and it was like, what? Bayern only a couple of years ago were like fighting for playoff positions and semi-final positions. Now they look half as good as they used to. So, yeah, don't know what's happening over there. Not to be outdone, everyone's favourite team in France, Bordeaux, put 62 on Racing. And again, Racing have been so up and down this year, way better than they were last year. But again, you're just sitting there going, for a club that spends so much money, and Bordeaux have just gone, nah, forget you. 62 points. And again, it's not like they were just walk-ins on the wing. Man, they're going through the middle, set piece tries. Physicality from Bordeaux was outrageous. And again, the biggest problem with having these EPCR games just randomly sporadic throughout the season. Toulon rotated everyone. Fair enough. But La Rochelle put 3 teams in top 14 and scored 62 points. What on earth? La Rochelle absolutely gave them a hiding. And I don't think Toulon will be rotating that many players anymore. A club that big with so many stars on their jersey, you cannot afford to be putting out such a poor performance like that. Even if it's away from home, even if it's to a big side, La Rochelle spanked them hard. Elsewhere, there wasn't too much going on in the world of rugby. A little bit of news with Aaron Wainwright apparently being the next Welsh player to leave the Welsh country and play in England. Let's see what happens there. Apparently Leicester are coming in for him. Other than that, a few other transfer rumours. Adam Hastings going to Montpellier, so we see how he gets on. Duncan Weir got a try on his final performance for Glasgow, but I think there's just a few more hangovers coming over from Christmas and New Year. But we're going into 2 rounds of the EPCR and then a random domestic league before the Six Nations. Coming up, we're going to be covering what we think should be done with the EPCR over the next couple of years. And we're going to start previewing all of the Six Nations squads. So make sure you stay tuned to all of our socials for all of that. And if you haven't already, jump over to allthingsrugby.com and download the Rugby app to stay up to date with all of our news. Our editors have been writing so much over Christmas and the New Year. So make sure you jump on and read some of those. And you get access to every single highlight of all of the games that have happened over the last week as well. So make sure you do that this week. Thank you very much for watching. My name has been Shanair and this has been All Things Rugby.